Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 12 of Out of the Blue. A really interesting episode for you this week, in which we're going to be tackling a question that was asked during my presentation. So the last episode of Out of the Blue was my presentation at the MAT Growth and Merger Conference. And from that presentation, I got asked a very specific question by Brian Impey, Chair of Directors from ACORN Multi-Academy Trust down in Devon. His question was, how effective can marketing be to address the scepticism of local authority maintained schools towards the value of academisation? Now, I did provide a quick sort of 30-second answer to that, but we thought it'd be a good idea to create an episode where we look into that particular question and provide a little bit more depth, a bit more meat on the bones. So that's what we're chatting about today. I hope you enjoy the conversation. I'll be back at the end with some information about next week. See you soon. Good afternoon, David. How are you?
Hi, Mark. Good to see you again. It's been a while. Missed you last week.
Yeah, I was all on my lonesome. Yeah, liked it. It was good.
But it was a great episode, really good, and the feedback's been fantastic from the event.
Yeah, so, it has. Yeah, it was a great event, really well put on, and lots of great speakers there. I learnt loads from certainly some of the group discussions that went on were brilliant, really good.
Yeah, really well organised as well. I thought they did a very good job with that event, organising it. A lot of people attended, and some great guest speakers, other speakers as well. So,
and that was the MAT Growth and Merger Conference. For those of you who may have not watched last week's, heaven forbid you've not watched last week's episode, which is a great segue into our topic for this afternoon, because it was actually a question I addressed very briefly at the end of that presentation. It was asked. It was actually asked by Brian Impey, who's Chair of Directors at ACORN Multi-Academy Trust in Devon. And following my presentation, which was all about the effectiveness of marketing in MAT growth, that's what we were talking about. And he asked a very interesting question that took me by surprise, actually. It's not often that happens. His question was, how effective can marketing be to address the scepticism that local authority maintained schools feel towards the value of academisation? Which is a great question and sort of plays on lots of things that we've chatted with lots of multi-academy trusts, and we've had some of that feedback that is just that general lack of trust, or maybe even just misunderstanding of multi-academy trusts and academisation and the whole sort of process. So it's an interesting question to sort of consider.
Yeah, I mean, quite often we hear, when we start working with a trust, we hear them saying things like that. The schools that are part of the trust, or certainly the staff that work within them, are skeptical of the trust and what they're about, and that they feel that they're there just to make money. It's quite often one of the responses. And amongst other things, that it is a good question and a challenge for trusts to overcome that.
So I think if they're in that position and they're they're looking at sponsoring schools in the local area, they're looking to attract that sort of interest. But it's like everything. I think the national press, the British press, just loves to down anything, really. And you've got, they've picked up on certain things. You've got the Bright Tribe controversy, which wasn't great, but then you've got the press talking about just the privatization of education, and that there are certain people that are just uncomfortable with that as a concept. But they'll pick up on things like senior managers' pay. They'll get that one example, and that'll just be what they're talking about for months and months. And that whole feeling of the politicization of education that there are groups of people that are just uncomfortable with. And I think the press have done a really good job of playing on that, really, and making more out of it than perhaps it is.
Yeah. So how can a trust address that, and how effective can their marketing be? Well, I guess, as we always say, you have to shout the loudest, and you have to have a voice in the sea of news and content that's out there. And I think if you have a strategy in place to deliver positive news stories, and respond to anything negative that you see or hear or read about, then actually you can be quite effective, really,
Yeah.
in removing that negative content, or not removing it, but actually pushing it further down so it's not as loud, and delivering. Everybody likes good news stories, and there's so much negativeness in the news. I personally don't really read it because it feels constantly negative.
Yeah.
And I think when you do latch onto something positive, there's a really good, you can get a really good following behind that, support for that.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a real opportunity, isn't it? To
yeah,
be the positive voice in that sea of negativity, really. If you do it well and you do it, well, you said the loudest voice, that is the key, really.
yeah. And if you can pick up on, a topic that the community where your trust is based, if you can find a topic that really engages with that audience, um, it could run and run for a long time. And I think specifically topics around case studies, alumni, what students have gone on to achieve, um, case studies about how successful the trust has been in turning around a school, the links to local businesses, the support that's being provided. I do feel that there's a lot there that can be achieved, and used, if we think about it the right way. And quite often, I can imagine that it's like, oh, there's so much negative press. How do we overcome this? As always, it's just having that strategy, putting a plan together, and then delivering consistently those
Yeah.
positive stories.
I spoke to a CEO some time ago, and they said the one of the most important things for them was not taking all of that personally. That actually a lot of the opinions they were hearing weren't actually about their trust. It was about academisation. It was about the whole,
Mm,
10 years of that sort of process, really. So not taking that personally, and then recognizing, the question was, how effective can marketing be? And to a certain extent, it doesn't matter what comes after
yeah,
that part of the question, really. How effective can marketing be? We talk a lot about the loudest voice that you've mentioned. We talk a lot about winning hearts and minds.
yeah,
And in this example, that's exactly what we're talking about, really. A lot of the skepticism of academisation is about a lack of transparency. It's a misunderstanding. It's not really understanding what the academies are all about. It's like you say, they're there to make money, or they're there to to privatize education, and I'm politically against that. So the more you can talk about those benefits, the more you can talk about what the trust means to the members, means to the people already involved with it, then the more powerful it becomes. And
mm,
you're able to have a true voice, I suppose. It's
yeah,
about people having trust in your trust, really. That's what marketing's about. It's having a true voice that reflects the
yeah,
product.
yeah.
And we're effectively talking about a product.
And and really, that starts with the brand as well, and understanding who you are, and knowing the messages that you want to put out to the community. Not all trusts are the same and have the same values. That they are different depending on where you are geographically, and the type of education that you're offering. And I think it's understanding that, not trying to be a jack of all trades and please everybody, because you're never going to do that, but finding that persona, and then working with that and delivering that again consistently,
Yeah.
um, to the community.
I think
Yeah,
that's...
so brand is a good place to start. Understanding your brand identity. That's visually, and then communication wise as well. How do we communicate that message, those values effectively once you've established that brand? And I know that's something that we've been delivering a lot with the branding and marketing masterclasses, with supporting trust and schools with that. But then again, with the school brand identity kit that that the trust and the schools have been taking on recently, it's been amazing to see the transformation on some of them, both visually and then how they communicate that.
It's a great point, and I think it's that whole. We talk to schools about this as well, actually, when we're talking about their branding. But it's that whole sort of rather than you wait, hey, we're a school and we're over here, like every other school does. It's the brand character. It's the very specifics about your own school, and I think what you're talking about there is key, isn't it? As a trust, if you are going to overcome that skepticism that people have got, you can only do that as yourselves, as your own brand character. They've got to buy into that. The hearts and minds bit is about gaining trust and challenging their own misconceptions, actually thinking, well, okay, I've just seen so much positive information from this trust that maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just, I'm going to change the way I think about this, because actually they look like something that we should be engaged with and that we should be talking to. And in that way, you get that open conversation, and then you can really start to get to grips with the actual objections that a school might have to joining the trust, as opposed to just those generalized, we don't trust academisation. Actually, it's getting to grips with the very specific objections that they might have that are actually a bit more tangible and realistic.
Yes, yeah. And at the same time, when they are promoting the trust, it's thinking, what is it they're promoting it for? Is it to encourage new schools to join? Is it they're looking for staff? It's understanding what those objectives are, and then working on that and developing that and making it attractive for the right type of people as well that you want to join the trust. Marketing, yes, it doesn't fix everything, but I think it goes a long way to providing that voice and a vehicle to get your message and your values across to the community. So what the question, how effective can marketing be? Well, it can be. You could apply that to any industry sector, actually, can't you? If it's done
on a scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah, for me, 11. But if it's done effectively, if it's done considered with strategy and delivered consistently, yes, it's probably one of the most powerful tools that a trust can have on board when it's trying to grow, certainly.
Yeah, and I suppose the last question I'd ask is, if you have a need to overcome that skepticism locally, how else are you going to do it if not through some form of marketing, some form of outreach? Because everything that you do is going to link back to the message that you're going to put across. You could arrange a public consultation, but actually there's a marketing element to doing that, to talking to people, because you've got to decide on your message and your tone of voice and your approach to that, really. So it's all to do with the brand and marketing, essentially.
Yes.
I think
it's a good question, that.
Yeah.
I like that question.
And Brian, I think we've answered it in more depth than I did last week.
Yeah, well, you were limited on time, granted.
I had about 30 seconds to provide an answer to that. So
you did very well for your 30 seconds. But that's what I like about this platform, Mark, is that it gives us opportunity to answer more fully the questions that we're asked on a daily basis. And I think this channel is offering us the opportunity to do that. And hopefully people are getting something from it.
Hope so.
Yes. Okay.
Brilliant. Well, thanks for your time. I hope, Brian, I hope you've got a better answer to the question that you posed, and anybody else that was interested in that, I hope that's provided some clarity for you. Thanks for your time, David. I thought that was very useful.
Yeah, good to see you again, Matt.
Speak to you soon.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Welcome back. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that episode. As ever, for those of you that want a little bit more help, please feel free to sign up to my brand identity masterclass. The next one of those is actually on Tuesday afternoon, 1 o'clock, an hour and a half online session. So it's a course that really looks at helping you get to grips with your existing marketing and communications, assessing how well that's working, and giving you some ideas as to how to progress and how to develop and make that a little bit better. It's £50 to attend the session, and details of how you can do that are in the comments down below. Okay, so next week we're going to be chatting about our discovery sessions. So these are the conversations that we have with schools when we embark on a project with them, or anything to do with the marketing and communications, whatever project we're involved with. We always have a discovery session. So next week we're going to be looking at what they are, why we do them, and what they're all about, what the value and benefit of those is. So I hope you can tune in. Until then, we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Out of the Blue, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe and leave a comment below, and please ring the bell for notifications. I hope I will see you again soon. Bye!